Sam Disciple. How are you guys doing? We're going to do a stream. As you can see from the topic, it's about Zack Snyder Justice League in IMAX, Restore the Snyderverse. It's also about RebelMoon. And it's also about some update information concerning a sort of scoop, rumor, whatever, about Universal possibly purchasing WBD within 2-year span. So we're going to talk about all of that. I'm going to get into it right now. First of all, we'll start off with a piece of scripture. Most High comes first. So I'm going to start with the Most High. It comes from the book of John, chapter 7, looking at verses 20 to 24. It goes like this. Jesus replied, I work on the Sabbath by healing a man, and you were offended. But you work on the Sabbath too when you obey Moses' law of circumcision. Actually, this tradition of circumcision is older than the law of Moses. It goes back to Abraham. For if the correct time for circumcising your son falls on the Sabbath, you go ahead and do it so as not to break the law of Moses. So why should I be condemned for making a man completely well on the Sabbath? Think this through, and you will see I am right. They wanted to kill him for healing a guy on the Sabbath. Sometimes the letter of the law is not the same as the spirit of the law. And those people who are Christians will agree with me on this. And even when we look at Israel versus Palestine right now, which I'm just going to kind of do it in a passing stroke, you can look at the letter of the law. Yes, Israel, they have their boundaries. They have an established nation. Palestine is not an established nation. It doesn't have sovereignty. But that doesn't mean the spirit of the thing is that you exploit that and you go into Palestine with your tanks and you bomb Palestine when you feel like it because they don't have sovereign space. See what I'm saying? That's wrong. And I think Israel has been really, the military, not Israel itself, but the military has been doing a lot of atrocities, a lot of what we call war crimes have been done by the Israeli military. And sadly, they can only think of Hamas and some kidnappings that happened, which, let me just make it abundantly clear, I don't agree with those things. Those are wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. But having said that, you know, the amount of damage that the military of Israel does to the West Gaza Strip there and the West Bank is horrible what they do to the people there. And yes, they fought you, they lost the battle, and because they were trying to take more land themselves. And you now have, but you have to show a better way. And Israel's not showing a better way. In fact, the way how they even approach Hamas is not right, man. You're not doing, you're supposed to be like Bin Laden. You're supposed to be surgical. Go in there, take care of these people, get out. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I say that to say the spirit of the law is what's important, not the letter of the law. So you might have the letter on your side, right? You look at the case with that company, I think it was an Evil Genius that was working for Netflix. Netflix got the letter of the law. If you break the NDA, you know the agreement's broken. I get to take your stuff because it's my stuff, and so on. But you have to look at it. It's a small company. They were excited. Yes, they violated the law, but you could have penalized them a different way. It's at your discretion. Spirit of the law. You wanted these people to make the thing. They violated. They did. You're not obligated to give them anything. But in the spirit of the law, you should be able to understand this is a small company, so on. If they violate again, you're done with them. But you give them an opportunity. Something called mercy, right? The spirit of the law says sometimes somebody violated the law. He didn't realize, they didn't understand what they were doing. They were enthusiastic about, promoting the thing. You have to be able to understand that. Now, they need to learn a lesson that you need to look at the fine print of everything. And unfortunately for them, Hollywood's that kind of way where you can actually get screwed, but the person has legal grounds for screwing you over. It's just what it is. So anyway, I say all of this to say that this scripture here says you have to look at the spirit of the law. And if you do look at the spirit of the law, then you will understand when somebody's not trying to take advantage of you, they're not trying to take advantage of a situation, then you should be somebody who's understanding and understand why the letter of the law was put there. And a lot of people are not like that. What they do is they use the law as a weapon, as a tool. The unforgiving servant comes to mind from the scripture. And they beat people over their heads with it. Just because you're right doesn't mean you can't show mercy. Right? That's the whole purpose for the Christians of why Jesus came and died. Because all of us come short of the glory. All right, so having said that as a preamble to what we're going to be talking about, we'll talk first about Zack Snyder's Justice League. I've been posting on Twitter a lot about this movie, and I see a lot of you guys like wanting the sequel really bad, and I see people galvanizing. Restore the Snyderverse is really based around the fact that Zack Snyder's Justice League, hold on one second. Right. Zack Snyder's Justice League arguably is Zack Snyder's best film, in my opinion. Best DC comic book movie, in my opinion. Really, it performed. It was received well critically. It was received well by the fans. Fans enjoyed it. And then the general audience also appreciates and enjoys the movie. And so that combination is really a great combination at this time. Even though the movie's 2 years old, it's a great combination because people are becoming more aware of the movie. They've seen it. And, you know, you have a range of people who have different opinions about it. But the majority of people tend to want, you know, I've asked a lot of polls. I have a lot of polls and stuff and information I've gathered. And yes, I asked Snyder fans first, and then I asked the general audience. You'd be surprised. The general audience actually wants to see this movie. In fact, they don't only want to see the movie, they want to see a sequel. That means they want to see the movie in IMAX, where it actually is supposed to be. So I thought this was very interesting, gathering the data for that. And so now November's kind of close, I'll be honest with you, and Warner Brothers hasn't said anything, but you can see that I'm still pushing for November 17th. You never know what could happen. I don't know what could happen. They could do a limited release or something in IMAX. That would be great. But my appetite for this movie, I could see this movie over and over in IMAX, like 7, 8, 10, 12, 20 times. You know, I really like this movie. I could just imagine seeing it on IMAX. These bigger than life characters on a big screen. You know, gotta be crazy. But my point anyway is this. How feasible is this? How much will it cost, right? Distribution is the thing. Now, I am currently on Twitter promoting Zack Snyder's Justice League in IMAX, along with RebelMoon, along with Air, the movie Air, which is a Ben Affleck movie with some really great actors alongside him, and it's about, you know, how how Nike landed the deal with Michael Jordan. So it's a really great piece of literature and movie, you know, audiovisual movie that you really want to see. And so I'm promoting all three movies: RebelMoon, Zack Snyder's Justice League in IMAX, RebelMoon in IMAX. Even if it's a limited run, please do that. And also, I'm promoting also. What am I promoting? Air, right? Now, you will see that I'm becoming an active fan. I'm not just a fan out there, but I'm a proactive fan. When I want something, I start to speak out about it. And I want to tell you guys something, all right? So you guys can start doing this. And I encourage anybody, I don't care what it is, what your passion is, what do you want to see? They can't know what you want to see if you don't tell them. So you have to talk to them and continue. I lead a Battle Angels squad, which I'm a part, but not as active. Shout out to you guys. Much love to you guys. I hope you get your movie very soon. It'll take a little while because of the animation and stuff, but I hope you get your movie really soon. Things are cooking in that direction, and I'm very happy about it. We still have to keep the pressure on them, and we still have to keep on talking about it, though, guys. I'm really happy for them. Also very happy for the people right now. There's the people pushing for the Schumacher cut of his Batman movie, and I think you should do that. Please do it. Keep going. I love that. Good stuff again. See, what these studios don't understand is you can recycle films, put them back in the cinema, and people go and watch them. See, you don't have to lose all this money on films. I'm trying to present a new concept to them. Take, for instance, The Flash, right? Flash was a dud, right? Well, a couple $1 million, give the director, let him finalize or do his post, whatever, or what his original idea was. He would have the footage. Do it over. Put it back in the cinemas, or if you want, you can test it out by putting it on HBO Max for Warner Brothers, for Universal, I don't know what they have. For Paramount, it'll be on Paramount Plus. If it's Disney, you put it on Disney Plus. And you put it on there, you see how it runs. If people like it, you put it up on the big screen. In other words, you can run your tests in real time and use your test subjects in real time. Now, let me make this something abundantly clear. As Martin Scorsese so correctly said, some movies are made for the big screen, period. They're not made for TV, okay? Zack Snyder's Justice was made for IMAX. It wasn't made for TV. It wasn't even made for cinema. It was made for IMAX. So the best place to see it and the most optimal way to see this movie is in IMAX. That's why I've been pushing Zack Snyder's Justice League in IMAX, because I know Zack Snyder used IMAX cameras for that movie. Now, I don't know for RebelMoon if he used IMAX cameras, which maybe he didn't. So in that case, he's not looking at getting it in IMAX, maybe just looking to get it in cinemas. Or not in cinemas at all, just done for Netflix. You never know. But I do hope it has a limited release. I'm pushing for it to be in IMAX because I want to see it in IMAX. But you never know, right? But I'm pushing for that. Now, I know that Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder, they said no. But, you know, in Hollywood, no doesn't necessarily mean no. It's not like a finalized no. You know, everything's negotiable. So you never know. Things can change, right? They said the Snyder Cut would never exist, and bam, we got it, right? Not only do we get it, but it's run. It had 2 limited runs in cinemas. You had the Justice is Great that was run 2 times last year, I think it was, and you also had not last year and the year before, I think 2001. The end of 2001, they did Suicide Prevention. Justice is Great was shown, and then I think the following year in 2022, they had another Suicide Prevention thing, and Justice is Great was shown again, and then the colored Justice League movie was shown. Zach did the color grading and everything, and it was shown in theaters early this year. I'm telling you, this is the year for it to come out. I mean, the timing's perfect. I have so much to say on a lot of things, and let me start with again, the spirit of the thing, right? So how I put it, I know Zack Snyder likes to do things properly, so I'm not sure if we have enough time for this, but I'm sure people would go nuts if they heard this. That Zack Snyder Justice League was going to be in IMAX November 17th to commemorate the date when Justice League, the animated series, came out to replace Justice League 2017 that came out. Now, I know there are certain people on there, Snyder Queen and Company Limited, who want to trend on that day, but I personally want to see results. I want to actually push this process and see if I can push the process to see the movie on that day, even if it's just that day, just like The Dark Knight. One day release in cinemas, worldwide or wherever, local, I don't care, limited release, whatever. Let it go out for a day and let's see what happens, right? I'll see, because I'm also a very analytical kind of minded person, a scientist kind of person. You know, I'm an artsy-fartsy person as well. And so I see this as data. I want to see what happens, right? So for me, I'm always a data-driven person anyway. So I've seen the polls. The polls are very promising. I've seen people say, there's a poll that was on Twitter, 55,000 people voted. And of that poll, they actually had Zack Snyder's Justice League. They preferred Zack Snyder's Justice League to Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. That was crazy. I looked at it, and these are Mortal Kombat fans mostly. It was from the guy who formed Mortal Kombat. And Mortal Kombat's doing very well. By the way, if you guys enjoy Mortal Kombat, then it's out, so you can go and purchase it and stuff. But with respect to Zack Snyder's Justice League, this movie, I'm telling you, man, I look at it, you know, I don't always look at it in its entirety. Sometimes I look at it pieces. But the thing about this movie is, people say BVS is the best Zack Snyder movie. I don't think so. I like the detail in it. I like the research you get to put into it. I like, you know, delving into it like that. And I understand, you know, it's multi-dimensional. It's talking from different people's perspectives. Zack Snyder Justice League more streamlined. But here's the thing, right? BVS wouldn't be elevated to a higher level if it wasn't for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and vice versa. But nonetheless, Zack Snyder's Justice League, to me, in a real way, is resolving, in a real way, like in a real world way, resolving and almost informing us or making us see and answer our own questions on, one, redemption. What is that? What does that look like? Now, usually comic book movies for redemption, they spend about they spend probably the latter half of a film, maybe 30 minutes, right? This entire film, this entire movie, Zack Snyder's Justice League, is all about redemption. Wonder Woman, right? Redeemed because she is now working with people. She was working like she was a loner. She was working by herself. Aquaman is going back home to his father, whether he's alive or dead. He's going back to his source. He's rethinking things about how he moves. You know, he said, you know, strongest man is strongest alone, right? He changed his opinion on that. When you look at Batman, well, Batman, he started the redemption arc since BVS, right? But he's on his journey to redeem himself. And, you know, he's failing a lot, but, you know, he's on his road path to redemption. And you hear him say that to Clark Kent at the end of the movie. And then you hear him, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, and she's on a redemptive arc because now she is with this group of people. She's mentoring them. She's helping them to come forward. She's leading out in battle. She's backing up. She decided, no, we gonna be there for battle. He could have said whatever. We ain't gonna follow those rules. We gonna come and get his ass. You know what I'm saying? And I like that dynamic and how she led the charge in that. She was the first person to protect him, and she came through because she's a protector, of course. You know, don't think it's something special. That's what she do. Okay, no man's left behind. Black Hawk Down. You know what I'm saying? So she gangster like that. You know what I'm saying? So she anyway made sure that they came through and protected him. She was the first person on the scene. Yeah, that's like Wonder Woman right there, right? The Wonder Woman movie, she says leaders go into battle. They go before the people to protect them. They lead their troops into battle. They set the example, and like she did that. So I just thought it was just real dope seeing her step up to the plate. And again, she's like the general. She comes through, you know, Aquaman and Cyborg come to showdown with Steppenwolf, but she drops in, whap. You know what I mean? And she in the front again. She leads the charge. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? She's bad, man. She's bad. I mean, Wonder Woman is such a bad. I mean, she's bad, y'all. She is like, she's the dreadest of the dread, but she just got a heart. She's kind and so on. You know, she's got a heart, but she's bad, yo. Hey, if Wonder Woman is riding, look, Superman's cool. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Superman's cool, but if I gotta get somebody who ride and die and protect my butt, it's Wonder Woman, y'all. It's Superman's cool, but Superman, he fails. He fails at times. You know what I'm saying? He fails to protect, even though that's his thing, that's his passion, right? Because he won't take that step that Wonder Woman would. She's like a mother hen with her chickens. She don't play. She'll take you out. She will take you out. You know what I'm saying? When she takes her protective job seriously, you saw what she did to the terrorists. She took them out. She wasn't playing that. You know what I'm saying? She don't play, right? And that's the difference between her and Superman. Superman's more hesitant to take somebody out. He's trying to figure out a way to, Wonder Woman. You know, I always thought she was dope. You know, of all the Justice League members, she's dope. And then she showed up. She actually showed up as Wonder Woman, started leading the troops and everything. Just like in Wonder Woman 2017, when she was leading the troops, she stepped out into the field, into no man's land, and started going. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just had to follow. They're just gonna fall in the line because she inspired you and everything, you know. Because she the first dog. Look at the Steppenwolf. She the first dog to take on Steppenwolf, right? She protected Cyborg. She was in there, and she was all up in him. She a dog. You know what I'm saying? Wonder Woman is bad. Y'all don't even know. She's the baddest of the bad of the Justice League team. But she's so experienced. She's so knowledgeable on so many things because she's been around so long. She just laid back. You know, the meanest, the baddest people usually laid back. They not I don't know, and they always talk about love and all that because they know they can destroy. They know they're skilled. They train. 1,500 years of training. She's bad. You know what I'm saying? She's bad. You know what I'm saying? So she won't pull it out, you know, and be, you know, just decimate, you know, just like that. But I'm just saying, she's bad. You know what I'm saying? You know, she's a better fighter than Superman. She's a better fighter than Superman. You dig? That's Wonder Woman. Anyway, so it was nice to see her back like the Wonder Woman we saw in Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 2017. But of course, she's more versed and more knowledgeable and stuff like that. And man, I would love to see that on the big screen. You know, I just love to see it on the big screen. And again, Protector. You saw when Aquaman, you know, again, when Aquaman was in trouble, when Steppenwolf had smashed him into the thing and the stuff was falling down on him and stuff, she's there to protect. You know, she's a protector. That's what she do. That's what the Amazons do. They don't have no fear. You heard them. You heard Hippolyta. In fact, she reminds me of Hippolyta a lot because Hippolyta's imprinted on her. You know what I mean? Hippolyta's like the same. Like they don't play. And they lead their troops into battle. You know what I'm saying? They don't play, boy. They don't play. And, you know, and she's an Amazon, so that's to be expected, right? So anyway, what I loved, see, I've read Wonder Woman comics, right? And Wonder Woman's not a mean-spirited person who tries to kill people or avenge people and stuff like that. She's not that, okay? Right? She's like a soldier. Like soldiers, real experienced soldiers, they don't have no mean bone in their body. They're actually loving, caring people because when they go to battle, they know it's to the death. They're like, you know, and they appreciate life so much more because, you know, they have to take life, which they don't want to take life. Well, some soldiers are like that. I'm not saying all soldiers are like that. But the really trained, experienced ones understand the cost of, you know, having to fight for freedom, or the cost, tactical cost and otherwise, because they want to keep the unit alive, of taking down an enemy, you know, and they feel for the enemy and all of that, but, you know, you got to put that aside and just be tactical, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I said that to say that Zack Snyder's Justice League, for me, is a way better film. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's a way better film in terms of value. Without BVS, it can't stand. So you gotta have BVS there. BVS is like the Empire Strikes Back, like everybody said. When the Empire Strikes Back came out, people was like in arms. They didn't like it. It's now a fan favorite because of the movie that came after, The Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi put the Empire Strikes Back in the right perspective. Right? The New Hope was very hopeful. Empire Strikes Back was the dark side, and the dark side was overcoming, it seemed, and everything seemed to be lost. And everybody was like, what the hell? They didn't know there was a third one, right? And the third one, The Return of the Jedi, everybody was cool with that afterwards, right? George Lucas had to go up against, you know, all these people, Martin Scorsese, George Lucas, they had to go up against people who hated their movies at the time that they released them. It's crazy. You know, and then people come to appreciate the stuff later on. And Zack Snyder's the same kind of guy, you know. But I think people are catching up to it when they saw Zack Snyder Justice League. Some people even still to this day say BVS is a terrible movie, even though they see the ultimate cut and everything. But you're like, it can't be terrible. For you to enjoy Zack Snyder's Justice League, you had to get the payoff. Superman had to die in BVS. Most people who hate BVS is because Superman died and Batman was shooting people, right? And shooting people, and it was very brutal. And some people think, you know, people kill people and stuff like that. So that's what turned people off. Batman was great, but they didn't like that he was killing people, right? And Superman, they thought it was just so much that Superman had to go through, and then he dies at the end. That was terrible, right? So that's what people call it the worst comic book movie out there. It's not because of anything, the story and whatever. I mean, the theatrical one was a little bit more avant-garde because it was kind of circular and you had to kind of read it. But I think most people got it. It's just that I think a lot of people didn't like that Superman died. I think that was the nail in the coffin. They were devastated that he's died. And then some people was like, man, that was ballsy. And then they saw the dust rise up and they were like, what? Say he's not dead? You're going to bring him back? And they were like, nah, ain't ballsy. You know, so different people have different opinions about it. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm 26 minutes in already. You know, I think that Zack Snyder's Justice League, the payoff from BVS comes into Zack Snyder's Justice League. And now if you look at BVS looks like a better movie because for those people, a lot of people now, when they look back at BVS, they enjoy it a lot more. Of course, the BVS that most people look at is not the theatrical version. It's usually the ultimate cut, which is significantly better for most people. Not for me. For me, yes, but I kind of put two and two together to figure out what was happening. But, you know, for most people, it was significantly better. For me, there was stuff that was cut out of it. I'm like, why'd you cut that out? I don't understand. I get it, but why'd you cut that out? You know? So, you know, but I say this to say that I think Zack Snyder Justice League is the pinnacle of Zack Snyder's directorial stuff. Army of the Dead was great, but I'm not really a zombie person. I love the little all the sub-layer and subplots that's going on in there. And RebelMoon probably might be a better than even Justice League. You never know. But for now, as of now, I think his best movie, period. 300 did well and all that, but I think his best movie has been Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think that's his best film. And you know, for his best film not to see the world, not to see this film in IMAX, I just think that's just not cool. That's a wasted opportunity, and you know it's going to make money. So I think it's just a wasted opportunity not to put it in IMAX. And the thing about it is, even though you may not be seeing it for the first time, you're definitely going to be seeing it in IMAX for the first time. Most people. You know, some people were able to see it in IMAX. Good for them. I want to see it in IMAX because I want to see all the details and everything. And then I can see things that I didn't see before in the movie. And plus, I just want to enjoy it on a big screen, you know, with big surround sound and all that. I just want to see it. I really want to see it. And I think a lot of people want to see it too from the polls I get. And then, of course, a lot of people want to see the sequel. All right. And I got to be honest with you. I, too, want to see the sequel. And, you know, to me, I don't know about anybody, visually speaking, when I look at what Zack did and the crew and the team for Batman and Superman and all these characters, they moved like the DCAU characters I saw, you know, in movies and in even the Sunday morning cartoons. They really moved like them, but in a more grounded world. So, you know, focus would be on some of the damage and stuff, but I thought it was just great. I was like, wow, this guy and the camera angles and everything is just crazy. And then, of course, I love how he delved so deeply into the characters that it had people having all these endless conversations for now. What is it, 7 years? For one, it's like 10 years. Man of Steel's 10 years now, Man of Steel. And I see people debating and arguing, and some people, you know, just turn their minds off, hate Zack Snyder for no reason at all. And You look at them. I know there are a lot of burner accounts as well. People forming new accounts just to try to shit on Zack Snyder because they know James Gunn stuff is coming up and they worried about James Gunn. Which reminds me of this. So I never quite understood this, right? I was talking to myself about this. Warner Brothers Discovery, right? And Warner Brothers Pictures, right? Um, for some reason, they don't listen to fans. They don't listen to their general audience. For some reason, they may listen, but they don't. They don't act on it. Audience, but you gotta listen to your audience. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the things that they just weren't doing. I don't know if they were confused what the audience was, but I mean, you just throw out polls, man. Throw out some polls. We'll get people to throw out polls and find out what people think about things. You're always going to have some people who are going to be enthusiastic about everything that you do, and then there's going to be other people who are more grounded and more selective. DC fans are very picky about a lot of stuff. So, and it's because they don't have confidence in the direction in which the studio keeps on going. you know. So, by and large, what I'm saying is that Zack Snyder's Justice League is really the way to go for them. I mean, it's like this movie has done everything it needed to do. It was a hit on HBO Max. It pulled in subscribers. It was critically scored positively. So with all those things in mind, this movie did everything it needed to do for a 4-hour long movie. You kidding me? And a lot of people really want to see a sequel. They really do. And that's not going to go away. And the more that DC underperforms, particularly the DCU, which Mr. James Gunn is supposed to be in charge of, the more it underperforms is the more people are going to ask for it. So this is something that they should just put to sleep as soon as they can, because there's no other way to do damage control on this. This is a runaway train. Nobody's going to let go. If you know about the Snyder Cut fans, Snyder Cut fandom, they just don't give up. They just keep going. So they might as well. And don't say Snyder Cut fandom. Just put it out for the audiences that appreciate it and so on. Because to be honest with you, it's not just the Snyder fans that like this movie. Marvel fans, people who are not even fans, people who just watching a movie, they would watch this movie even if they haven't seen BVS, and they'll enjoy it because it's long. Nobody's even trying to front that. So if you're going to do it in IMAX, you want to split it at a certain point. But even though it's long, it's really fantastic. It's so fantastic that you stay, and you can't seem to get enough of it. So nobody's saying it's not long, but as of late, we've been having a lot of long movies. We're going to have Killers of the Flower Moon, which is a Scorsese movie. And again, it's going to come out. It's going to be quality. It's going to be great. And I'm going to go see it. And because it's coming out October the 20th, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So just keep that in your mind, in your register. You want to go see that. Osaki Murders, I think, or something like that. But it's a real event. It's based on a real event. You guys really want to see that. If you guys like Oppenheimer, you're definitely not going to like this. Scorsese's like an incredible director, but he's had his ups and downs with studios and all that kind of stuff, and that's why he's the guy that kind of made cinema. He made films for cinema, for the big screen, solely. So he's a cinema guy. That's why he started cinema. Yeah, Martin Scorsese is like 80-something years old, but he's still doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? So, if you're a cinephile, if you love cinema, if you love going to the cinema, then you would not turn down Zack Snyder's Justice League, because you will enjoy this. This is not one of those movies. It's kind of like a mythological movie more than it is a comic book movie. Zack doesn't approach these characters in a just off of comic books. He goes beyond the comic books to be before that to the mythos and how these characters are. So he pulls that sort of mythological kind of sort of. It's called like think of the ancient coming to the present. That's kind of like what he does, showing that this thing is a repeat. When he did the Age of Heroes fight between Uxas and Darkseid and the legions of different peoples. you know, that sort of brought, oh, so this is what Justice League really is. The Justice League is really an age of heroes, is really a mythological kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? Where the world kind of comes together and fights off this. So that's what they're for. And, you know, those sort of perspectives on things will widen your perspective. So if you enjoy cinema and you want something that's, you want something that's sort of, you're not really a comic book person, but you want something that is sort of like Lord of the Rings. It's sort of like fantasticals, sort of like not so much Harry Potter movies, more like Lord of the Rings movies, sort of that kind of thing. But except not as mythological, meaning a lot more of our world, a lot more of you know, the people are mythological. Maybe the places they live are mythological, but the actual world is like our world. And when I was on Twitter, you know, people were talking about, you know, how Turkish Airlines with BVS, you know, they were doing as if, you know, they fly to Gotham and all of that. And if you went on Google Maps, you could find Batman's place in Gotham, you know, and they, you know, they tried to make the movie fit into our world. And the thing about it is, what I liked about what Zach does is, therefore, it's kind of grounded. So it's not all fantastical and stuff. Yes, Superman flies, and you know, Batman's a little stronger than normal. You have things like parademons and stuff like that, Wonder Woman and stuff like that. But the world, for the most part, is like our world. The world is not fantastical at all. There are aspects of it like Themyscira, but even Themyscira is grounded. It feels like a place. It feels like a place you would go to and you could see. You know, Black Panther was kind of like that, Wakanda, but Wakanda was still felt artificial. But because they didn't have enough green and stuff like that, and the lens at which they shot it, and so when you look at Themyscira, it looked like a place. It actually looks like a, you know, like one of those Greek places, and that's just all the research they did and stuff like that. So when we're looking at like Zack Snyder and what he does, even if you're not a comic book movie person per se, you're just a cinephile, you'll really appreciate it and enjoy it for the cinema aspects of it, and then the fact that it's not one of these stories where, you know, you have flying Superman and then you may have flying Superdog and that kind of thing. It's not so fantastical, you know. They try to keep it grounded to a great degree, and they go with the straight man's way of telling the story, and not a sort of sincere approach versus comical and you know, a lot of humor and stuff like that, you know, to sort of dispel the fantastical nature that is there, and sort of explain away the nonsense that you might see on the screen. So they kind of take it more sincere, and they try to keep everything as normal as possible, while, you know, this hero, whatever, they have these extra abilities or whatever. So I do think that it should go into cinemas because, like I said before, the empirical evidence shows that, right? Again, Warner Brothers. I want to say this. It's from the movie Air, and it says, I believe it was Phil Knight that said this, who is the head of Nike to this day. Let's see if I can find the quotation. I think it's worth saying to everybody. You know, we're 48 minutes in. I'm going to take an hour. I'm not going to go beyond an hour, okay? Phil Knight said something. Let's see if I can find it. Because like I said before, I'm promoting Air, and yes, Phil Knight. Hold on a second. I did Air. Did I do Air before RebelMoon? I can't remember. I'll post you. That's RebelMoon stuff. We're gonna go into RebelMoon in a minute, man. RebelMoon's great. Do I have Air before RebelMoon? I think so. I do. So, RebelMoon, they're promoting RebelMoon. There's toys and stuff. Ah, here's Air. Okay, good. Great. Okay. So Phil Knight said something that was so true. If I could find it. I'm trying to find it right now. Maybe for the Zack Snyder Justice League thing. What did he say? It talks about risk. So he says, take the shot. He says, to be remembered, you have to break the rules. Okay? Something like that. So sometimes, Warner Brothers, you have to break the rules. Sometimes you might have your well laid out plans because you played it safe and it didn't work. You tried to do safe DC movies that the fans would like and everybody would like, and they fell flat. So sometimes you are remembered for the rules you broke. Be daring. Take the risk. Sometimes taking the risk is the right direction than not taking the risk at all. So I pitched this to Warner Brothers is you have an opportunity. It's a finite window though. You have an opportunity to put Zack Snyder's Justice League into IMAX this year. Ideally, you want to put it when Justice League 2017 did to undo that unpleasant experience for a lot of people. And you got this opportunity. Roll the dice and do it. Now, I know a lot of people don't like rolling the dice, but you played it safe with these movies. Jeff Johns is guaranteeing you something, and it didn't work. None of them worked. And the reason it didn't work because he wasn't listening. You wasn't listening to your audience. Your audience, social media. This is the age of social media. There should be a dialogue between companies and the audience because the audience can actually express themselves. You don't have to do polls and all of that. You just look at Twitter or you look at Instagram or you look at Twitch, TikTok, Facebook. You start looking at social media because that's the way how it's being done now. And get your information. So, and if you know what the fans are saying, then now I'm not saying that everything like, casting, whatever. Fans will say things about casting and we're not casters. We're not people. What we can tell you, the fans can tell you what they like in a movie and why they want to see more of something, right? That's what fans can do. We can't tell you the inner workings of your business, our profit margins, and all that. We don't know that. All we know is what we want. We know, we understand when there's something in demand. We know when we can see it, So that's what we're talking about. The fans are not experts at marketing and all those kinds of things. That's for the people who know. But fans can tell you. What the fans can tell you is this movie's righteous. Please put it out, and it's just a logical thing, and you'd probably be saying, it's a logical reason that they like it. They want it in IMAX. Right. Makes sense. How many of them? Let's see. And you do your polls. So, if I'm not mistaken, on Twitter, BVS has 525,000 followers and likes or whatever it is. I think on Zack Snyder's Justice League doesn't have a whole bunch of followers on Twitter because obviously it's not really an official page or site or whatever. But Batman v Superman has 500 and something K, and most of those people are same people who like Zack Snyder's Justice League. So what I'm trying to say is that's more than James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. That's more than any movie, even Wonder Woman 84 and all of that. They're not doing those numbers, right? They're not doing half a billion people on Twitter. I don't know how many users there on Twitter, but I'm just saying. So the numbers are there. You can look on Facebook. I think some groups have 300. I think it's 275,000 people. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League again. It didn't go out in theaters, so it has like about 200 and something thousand, 300 and something thousand followers. I'm just showing you though the figures. I think James Gunn's The Suicide Squad on Facebook is doing really well. I think it has 6 million likes or something like that. And 6 million followers or whatever, but it didn't translate. It didn't translate to the movie, and it's not translating to these films. Some of these films, they have followers, whatever, on Twitter or whatever. But when you look on YouTube, you look for the views or whatever. Of course, it depends on the platform as well. So if you guys can announce this, Zack Snyder Justice League, again, I mean, we are right now. Today is October the what? 12th, 11th. Was it? Today is October the 12th. Okay. So basically, you have a month and 5 days. I say make the announcement, roll the die, and do it. Do it. Even if it's a limited run, whatever. Globally though, put it out there, and in 2 weeks' time it does really well. You can pull it, and then you can try and do something later on next year. So it'll come out next year, or something like that. But what you have to do is you should not miss this opportunity to put it out there, because that thing is going to tell you exactly what you need to do when it comes to restore the Snyderverse. If the fans show up for this movie, because fans have not been showing up for the DC movies, right? We don't expect fans to show up for Aquaman even. If the fans show up for Zack Snyder's Justice League in the theater, you have to think about what kind of sales per theater happened, and if it made a lot of money per theater, because maybe you're not going to do a long run. Maybe you just do a 17th to whenever Aquaman's coming. The thing about it is, Aquaman needs as much help as it can get, right? So this movie will show Jason Momoa in there, who's Aquaman, you know? And I don't know what they're doing in terms of trying to fix Aquaman, or what they're doing in the background right now, but I can tell you that can help, again, Jason Momoa and Aquaman 2 to at least break even. If it can break even, that would be great. That would be great. It doesn't have to make money. It just needs to break even. It needs to break the cycle. It has to break the cycle of flopping. And anybody... Now, the thing about it is, yes, we're going to get the Snyderverse restored. If you're going to put Zack Snyder Justice League into theaters, yes, the fans are going to say, well, okay, so that means you're going to give a sequel, right? They're going to naturally do that. But the thing about it is that you promised that sequel, right? You let Zack finish off his story. You get the Batman movie out there. You get the Superman movie, the Wonder Woman movie out there. James Gunn is not using any of these characters, right? He's using the characters, but he's not using the actors, right? It's cleared up for Zack to do his thing with these actors, if these actors are cleared up to work with Zack. So all I'm saying is, Zack Snyder didn't get paid any extra money to finish Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? So he didn't get paid. He did it out of love and a passion in his heart to finish the film, right? The cost really went to the people who had to do special effects and that kind of thing. So at the end of the day, Warner Brothers, this guy gave his heart, his guts, and soul for a movie. And why can it not see its ultimate glory, even if it's for a limited period of time? Even though honestly, I think that movie is going to make so much money. It's going to make so much money that you guys are going to want to rethink the Gunverse. But no, if you want to continue with the Gunverse, continue with the Gunverse. Just ride the damn wave. That's what I'm saying. You know, because I think that movie's going to make crazy money. Crazy money. You know, because people thirst for that kind of thing. And the fact that the general audience sees this and says, oh, it's not Justice League 2017. No, this is the director's cut of it. Like, all right, go in there. Some of them will be like, nah, I don't want to see it. And then other people will convince them, no, man, it's really good. You need to go see it. You know, word of mouth. And people go see the movie, and then they say, oh, snap. Yeah, I don't recall seeing this, right? You know how they will be. So I would really advocate and campaign for this as a fan. I think it's worth the while. I think for suicide prevention, this is Suicide Prevention Month. I campaign. So I almost took an hour just campaigning for this, right? And the reason being that I think the spirit of this supersedes the legal aspect of it. You know what I mean? And I just think they should go for it. I think they should go for it. Abdi and DeLuca, the people who I expect to spearhead this will be their thing. You know, if it goes down, they go down. But I don't think so, because they are very they've been very lucrative. They've been producing films that have been making money, you know, for Warner Brothers. They have 7 hits, and they're probably going to have 8 hits by the end of the year. And then on top of that, I'm going to say this, because The Color Purple is coming out, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in October. This month, I think it's coming out. Anyway, Another thing, they're really good at what they do. They love Zach. They would love to see Zach's vision to its completion. And then, they were making the right decision. They really were making the right decision. Even if Zach didn't come back, they were making positive decisions for the company that would really have eventually turned out to be really great, because Ben Affleck was brought back. Henry Cavill was getting his extra thing so he could run his narrative on Superman. Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman 3 was on the cards and everything. They canceled Batgirl, which was a good thing, I think. And they were trying to bring quality movies. And if we are being reasonable, Black Adam did really well for all the flops. It's the highest grossing flop of all the flops. And it probably would have broken even were that it couldn't get into China. But then that's on them. But I'll be honest with you, Black Adam was, it was a movie that they worked on and everything, and people and stuff. And that movie, it still flopped, because if they had only listened and just put Superman in a black suit, that was it. Black suit. If they had Man of Steel black suit, nobody cares. Just put him in a black suit. That would have been it. I think I definitely would have gone and seen it. It would have made mad money, and that would have been that. It would have been the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson universe from there on it. You know what I mean? But it was meant to be, and that's how that turned out. So we have the opportunity now to get the Snyderverse back. Which reminds me now, Universal, there's been this news that Universal is looking to purchase WBD if things don't go well, at least the DC part of WBD, in 2 years' time. I'll be honest with you. That sounds nice. Christopher Nolan's at Universal and everything. But I do think that Abdi and DeLuca is sufficient, in my opinion. If David Zaslav allows them, it takes the leash off of them. So it allows them to at least let the black label stuff, like Zack Snyder's Justice League, be black labeled. So it's a kind of Elseworld thing. James Gunn could do the canon, right? Just like they're doing with Joker and Batman. And it's a multiverse, so it doesn't really matter. You can have a story run wherever it wants to run. I think they would be happy. They would be delighted, because that's like a backup. That's like, if James Gunn stuff doesn't work out, we got this. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. I look at it as like a insurance. So if things don't work out the way you planned it to work out, boom. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, the people who like James Gunn stuff, they get to go into the cinema and see his stuff. If they don't like Zach's stuff, they get to see out options. And it won't cost you a whole bunch of money, because when Zack Snyder's Justice League comes in there and kills it and takes down the building, even though it's a 2-year-old movie. And this is the crazy thing about this movie. This movie is not even 2 years old, actually. This movie is 6 years old, right? It was supposed to come out in 2017. It's a 6-year-old movie with 2-year-old additions to it, right? Additional photography, but it's a 6-year-old movie. So what's so crazy about this is this 6-year-old movie did so well. And then just imagine this thing in cinemas. Oh my God. The word of mouth would be crazy. I'm telling you, man, this is something that needs to happen. And it needs to happen this year. I don't know how exactly it's going to happen, but it has to happen this year. And preferably before Aquaman. Preferably before Aquaman. I know the Marvels are coming out in November, but I really don't care. They're coming out November 10th. The Marvels have nothing to do with Zack Snyder's Justice League. None of those two things are two different things. Zack Snyder's just like Endgame, right? The Marvels is their own thing, and they're doing their own thing, and they got their audience. So I'm not worried about them. I'm not worried at all about them. They're gonna make their money. So Zack Snyder's Justice League, putting it out there, there'll be a craze to go see it in the cinemas. 4-hour-long epic, history being made. Warner Bros. Looking in a good light, because it's like, the fans are like happy that they get to see it in the theater and everything. Besides that, the general audience that wants to see it and they're curious and whatever. And it would make things more spicy. Let's put it that way, in a positive way for Warner Bros. Because now people kind of more want to see, okay, so let's see what you're gonna do now. It looks like you want to still back auteur filmmakers. You still want to back a singular vision, stuff like that. You know, not this stuff that the MCU does. So, and then James Gunn gets his thing to do his thing, how he wants to do his thing. You know what I mean? And Jeff Johns can stay with him. So everybody's happy. You know, that's, you know, Jim Lee's like that kind of dude. He likes that kind of thing too. So I'm just saying, you get two different flavors, right? You have the funny, the fun, as they call it, the fun flavor, the funny flavor. Everything's kind of jokey, whatever. And then you can have, you know, you can have cinema, right? So if you want to do the MCU thing with DC, fine. If you want to do the DC thing with DC, how DC, the history of the successful, prosperous DC movies, there are only, I think there's only 2 campy DC movies. There's a Superman, well actually, successful 3. Superman 1978, Superman 1980, Aquaman, that's it. There's no other. Well, actually, Red was kind of funny. But it was a clever funny. It was more, you know, it was heady funny. It wasn't campy funny necessarily. And then you had but that didn't make no money. That actually flopped, so I forget about that. And what else? That's it. So when you look at DC's history is campy funny doesn't cut it with DC. Just doesn't. People look for more mature content, more serious, earnest content, that kind of thing. So if you look at Superman 1978 and Superman 1980, those are 2 funny movies, right? Get them out of the way. Then the next successful movie was Batman 1989, which people are saying campy. That wasn't a campy movie at all. People dying, all kinds of shit. And besides that, there wasn't really a lot of jokes, one-liners, like Arnold Schwarzenegger one-liners, but no jokes really. The Joker was funny, but Batman was straight. You know what I'm saying? Then you had Batman Returns, which was even more graphically violent. And then you had Batman Forever. Batman Forever actually had jokes, and there was some wacky characters in there, but yeah, so that one actually made money. So there's 4 of them. And then we skipped to Batman Begins, which broke even. And then you had The Dark Knight. In between The Dark Knight and Batman Begins, you had V for Vendetta, you had Constantine. What is I'm forgetting something. I'm forgetting one of the films. I can't remember which one. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. We had all of that. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen didn't really have slapstick humor or humor really. It was more of an adventure film. But in between the moments, sometimes there was something that funny happened. But I love that movie too. That's a great movie. And then you have you had after that The Dark Knight that made money, and then you had The Dark Knight Rises. But before The Dark Knight Rises, you had Red. Red was good. The first Red was good. The second Red wasn't that great, but the first Red was good. And then you had Road to Perdition. I forgot that. Road to Perdition, a very serious movie. So DC's always had serious tone. It always had a history of successful DC movies, that is, of financially, that is. Always had a serious tone to it. You know what I'm saying? You look at then after Batman Rises, you had Superman in Man of Steel. Then you had BBS, and then you had Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman had a little humor in it, but it wasn't really a funny movie either. It was a lot of heart though. It was a very emotional movie. And then you had and brought out emotions that you didn't know were there, like so revealing. Like, you know, it's crazy. That movie was crazy. I'm not gonna lie, that movie was crazy. And then you had Aquaman. Aquaman was a funny movie. It was more funny, wacky, you know, poking fun at all kinds of things. So that was a funny movie. And then you had Joker. Yeah, Shazam. Shazam was funny as well. So there's about 5 movies out of, what is it, 17 or something like that. And then you had, I think that's all the movies that made money. Yep. Oh, the Batman. And the Batman is not funny, right? So if you look at it, DC's never been funny, hee hee ha ha kind of movie. Like, it's never been Marvel. So when they started to try and move to Marvel, and the fans picked that up, and it was like, hell no. You know, Justice League 2017 was marvelous. The Suicide Squad was a little bit marvelous, not that much, but you can tell the studio came in and did what Marvel does and interfere with everything when they thought the director didn't have, you know, what they wanted. So, you know, Studio Squad, you know, Martin Scorsese talks about this too. How the studio sometimes last minute they just come in and change up your movie. And it's like, what the hell? So, you know, that's something that happens in the industry a lot, it seems. But Warner Brothers, being that it's supposed to be director led, that was what it used to be. It's not so much that anymore. But you know, you don't want to manufacture stuff. You wanna see. They trying to find a formula. You know, I always talk about the Marvel formula and the formulaic movies. You don't want that. You want organic stuff. You want natural, singular director's vision, and they live and die by that, and it's okay. Um, because you get these different perspectives and these different looks that you wouldn't get otherwise. And so, you know, Warner Brothers needs to understand that the history of DC, you know, you had 2019, I think you had The Kitchen. It didn't do so well. It was a serious movie again. Um, not all the movies out there. You know, there was another one. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Oh yes, A History of Violence. A History of Violence also came out. That came out in 2005, I think. And again, movie's extremely serious. It's kind of like a John Wick before John Wick came out. You know, so when you talk about DC generally has, you know, serious comic book movies. You know, Marvel had its history of some serious comic book movies in cinema, right? You had Blade, you had Spider-Man. Spider-Man was a serious movie as well. Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3. You had Captain America, the first Avenger, serious tone movie. You know, Black Panthers, not completely serious, but it's kind of serious. You know, especially as it builds up and stuff. Um, there's a handful of them. You know, I'm trying to remember the rest. There's one or two more, but I can't remember them right now. X-Men. X-Men was, again, played straight, serious movie. X-Men's franchise, serious by and large. It was really good. So, you know, Morpheus was kind of falling in that line, but I guess there's a lot of plot holes, and so it kind of was crappy. But, you know, because they chopped up the movie, obviously. But X-Men, you know, been always strong. So, Marvel had more humor and stuff to it, and I think people loved that, the lighter characters. DC's not really been that way. In history of it, at least the successful movies. You had a bunch of flops in between, you know. So what I'm saying is that based on that history, Warner Brothers, you can't go wrong with a straight telling serious movie. You can't. You can't go wrong. You see it. It's not just the Batman. You know, Constantine. You get like I hope that Abdi and DeLuca greenlight Constantine, because that's a great sequel with Keanu Reeves. That's what we need. We don't need no Beetlejuice. Y'all want to try and get Beetlejuice going. I'm like, what the hell? I don't care about no sequel for no damn Beetlejuice. We don't care about no sequel for something else they putting out. And I'm like, I don't care about a sequel for that. I care about like Constantine. Get a sequel for Constantine. Get a sequel for they've been asking forever. You know, they wanted a Man of Steel solo with Henry Cavill. They didn't ask for, you know, Superman Legacy. They're asking for things and you're not giving them that. They asked for Ben Affleck's Batman movie. Y'all gave us Matt Reeves' Batman. Nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for Matt Reeves to do it. They wanted Ben Affleck to do a Batman movie. Like the tone deafness is so stupid, and it's like I don't understand. What is the point of that? Why are you trying? Oh well, you know I can't give you Ben Affleck doing the Batman. I'll give you Matt Reeves doing the Batman. What? That's not what we want. You know why we want Ben Affleck doing the Batman? Because of something called Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham Origins. Alright? That's why we said that. Because we saw Batman fight Deathstroke in that. And everybody wanted to see that in live action. And we finally got the Batman that we had, Batfleck, which is a combination of Ben Affleck and his stuntman 300 on Twitter. And that combination is killer. It's killer. You know, this dude moved like the Batman in the video games. You know, he moved like the Batman. Well, some of the Batman. You know, the Bruce Timm's Batman. You know what I'm saying? He moved like that. So, of course, we want to see Deathstroke and Batman that go tooth and nail because Deathstroke's that good. You know, and we know Deathstroke will live at the end of the movie. So anyway, the point I'm making is that you got to listen to what people are saying because the excitement comes from the fans. The excitement does not come from the GA. It's the fans that light up the GA. Why is it you will not listen to the fans? Not, and I gotta make this. I gotta bring this clarity here. There are people with burner accounts. Okay, now there are people who are making multiple burner accounts, and they're doing like this. They're fans, and they're not fans. They're not fans. They're Marvel fans maybe, or you know, they're James Gunn fans, but they're not DC fans. Okay, not mainly. They may watch DC, but that's not where their heart lies. And these people, and again, industry insiders in your own company and executives and so on, they go on there with burner accounts, and you look at the burner accounts. There's nobody following them. Okay, and they're formed very recently. Like there's a bunch of burner accounts I saw that were formed this year, 2023, from February 2023 till September 2023, which is last month. I even saw October 2023, right? They're burners. Clearly, they're burner accounts, right? And so one person, I'll say the same thing, which tells me, okay, that's one person doing all of this. So they make it sound like it's a lot of them. It's not a lot of them. Even when they're voting, they're using these burner accounts. And y'all talk about, you know, the industry accuses us, Snyder fans, of being bots when we're not doing that. Like I go and I vote. I vote when I voted for the Flash turning back time as the Oscar fan chair moment. I did it. I voted. You're supposed to vote multiple times during the week, so you come back, you vote again, and so on, right? That's how they had it, and that's what I did, and that's why, you know, there was a lot of us. There's a lot of Snyder fans. We're a big group. Let me tell you, Snyder fans, Batman fans, Superman fans, well, Henry Cavill fans. Not Superman fans. Henry Cavill fans. Henry Cavill has a huge amount of fans, right? Batfleck has a huge amount of fans, but there's a huge amount of Batman fans. And the reason there's a huge amount of Batman fans, Warner Brothers Pictures, is because you guys have been doing a lot of Batman movies. Out of all of the DC characters, you have the most Batman movies. You don't have as much Superman movies. Superman movies, you're gonna have Superman Legacy. So that's one. You had Justice League. You had Zack Snyder's Justice League. You had BVS. You had Man of Steel. You had Superman Returns. You had Supergirl, Superman 4, Superman 3, Superman 2, and Superman 1. You had 11 Superman movies. That's a lot of Superman movies. Well, if you include James Gunn, at least it's 10, right? Batman movies. You got Batman 66. You got Batman 89. You got Batman Returns. You got Batman Forever. You got Batman and Robin. You got Batman Begins. You got Batman The Dark Knight. You got The Dark Knight Rises. You got BVS, the Justice League. That's 10. Yeah, that's about it. Batman's in the Flash too, so you got to include the Flash. Yeah, that's about it. 11. Oh, it's 11. Wow, that's crazy. So you have 11 Superman movies. Oh, with James Gunn, it'd be 11. So you actually have 11 Batman movies, 10 Superman movies. That's interesting. Because, again, Batman shared in Justice League and the other stuff. Okay, cool. So it's 10 and 11. Okay, cool. But Superman's not been as popular as Batman because you saw Batman more regularly. Superman just couldn't get off the ground for a good period of time. So one of our pictures again. This is just me talking to you guys directly, Mr. Abdi and Mrs. Abdi and Mr. Mr. DeLuca. That the history with DC is they've always had much more serious toned films. Okay, not darker, serious tone. Some of them are darker, but serious tone films. And generally speaking, Batman been in the foreground a lot, and it's done well. So because of that, Superman couldn't get off the ground for a long time until Zack got him off the ground. James Gunn. Okay, James Gunn is pushing a Superman that just doesn't work. That Superman don't work. Like James Gunn's going to try and approach a unique Superman. He's going to try and tell a unique story, obviously. But I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a tall order. He got a lot of time though. But and he's a writer, so. But I'll be honest with you guys. I don't see him really. He's going, James Gunn gonna put some funky shit in there, and he's gonna, have sexual references and all that kind of stuff that he do. He can't help himself. That's what he do. Superman is a very difficult character to pull off. It's very difficult to pull off. They make it sound like it's so easy. It's not easy. Fans say, well, he needs to wear the red trunks, and he needs to smile, and he needs to hug people and embrace people a lot more and save cats out of trees and stuff like that. I get it. You want him to be more kind and there's some merit to that because we haven't seen Superman like that. But I just don't think that like the dimension of Superman, like you trying to just recapture Superman 1978. I just don't think that's gonna work. I know he's gonna be a younger Superman. Learning the ropes and stuff, and he's, alien background, Krypton and all that. Possibly having to deal with Brainiac, right? So, I just think Superman to me, it's good for a cartoon because you can kind of tame your disbelief. But when it comes to live action, I just don't think it works. I don't see it working, but hey, whatever. My point is, I don't even care about that because it's like I wanted to get Justice League versus Darkseid. So if we can continue that story, that's what I would. Because I don't think James Gunn will ever come across to dealing with Darkseid like that. I think he wants to do Superman versus the Elite, and that's one of the comic book movies and animation that came out. So. I could see people kind of having some sort of anticipation for that. I don't see why, it's just that, Darkseid is so much more known than the Elite. The Elite is, the Elite's like the Justice League as well. It's kind of like, how do I say? The Elites are characters that are similar to Superman, Batman, Robin, Wonder Woman and stuff. It's just they have gay characters and all that kind of stuff that goes on with it. So kind of James Gunn wants to, I guess Jeff Johns wants to push them in that direction. He really wants to go speaking to like trans people and gay people and stuff like that. So he wants to have those relationships in it. Am I particularly interested in that? No. But maybe he'll have a demographic for that, hopefully, if he can get to that point, if he can get the Superman movie off the ground. He has to get Superman off the ground, to be honest with you. I don't care about that. I'm looking forward to, like I said before, Justice League versus Darkseid. I want to see that story. I want to see the ending, and then and I know we know a lot about it, but still, it's not enough. And then, of course, I want to see the Cyborg movie, the Atom movie, all the movies that were promised to us that are not going to be involved in Justice League 2 or 3. So I'm not caring about the New Gods movie because that's in Justice League 2. But I would care about a Wonder Woman movie. Maybe in the story of Justice League 2 they weave that in as well. But I think she's going to try and go home to the Amazons and see what's happening with Hippolyta and they. Anywho, maybe Justice League 2 will start with her being the queen of the Amazons now. Paul's dead or whatever. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that Justice League 2, Justice League 3, I know Justice League 2 is going to be bonkers because I have some ideas of what it's going to be in it. Of course, I don't know most of the stuff, but I have an idea. And from what I know, it's crazy appetizing. Um, so, yeah, I can't stress enough on Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay, Rebel Moon, man, all kinds of things I want to say about Rebel Moon. One, I've been looking at, the the movie and the different characters in the movie, and man, I am somewhat excited and stoked for this movie. I still don't know what the movie is. Yeah, they say what the movie is, but I don't really know what the movie is. So, uh, gotta say, Admiral Noble, he looks like, man, he looks like a terrible person. But he's working for the Mother World, so, and he's a legal person. He's legally there, so it's like, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. We see him fighting Cora at the end of the trailer, so that's gonna be very interesting as well. Which well, it looks like one of those things that Nemesis has. Nemesis, she has those kind of lightsaber things, so it's very interesting. The movie does look like there's many worlds in there and just many different things to see and know and explore in the universe. So that'll be crazy. Like I said before, Evil Genius, hopefully they can get some sort of compensation for what they did. And hopefully, Zach might compensate them or something. I don't know. But hopefully their situation will be sorted out. Um, yeah, video games and stuff coming off of that. Video games and stuff could come off of Justice League as well, but James Gunn's mostly doing his thing there, so I don't know how much we can get with that. Definitely I want to see Justice League crossover with Watchmen. I heard the Reverse Flash was supposed to be behind some of the things that happened, so he's going to show up. So, it's really, really going to be interesting times, man. It's going to be interesting times. Rebel Moon. Man, I've been looking at these little GIF clips of Rebel Moon, and it's got me excited because there's some details in there, Atticus Noble, he's a terrible person, man. He dread. You know what I'm saying? My battery's almost gone. All right, guys. So an hour and 26 minutes is what I was in. One more thing I gotta say. So I said Universal, Warner Brothers Discovery. They all been. Hopefully, Warner Brothers Discovery will make the right decision and put Zack Snyder's Justice League in there and just talk about restoring the Snyderverse. But they shouldn't say restore the Snyderverse yet. They should wait to see what Zack Snyder's Justice League does in theaters first. And then after that, they can say, well, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna relight the sequels. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if they have the money for that, to be honest with you. But if they keep on going with these flops, it's gonna hurt them really bad. And they need something to offset that. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys. I am Christ, I am Disciple. I hope you guys have a good one. It was nice talking with you guys. You can spread the word. We're looking at Zack Snyder's Justice League, Rebel Moon, and we're looking at Air. And I didn't get to talk too much about Air. Air is right now streaming on Prime, and it's a really good movie to go watch. Go see Air on Prime because it's no longer in theaters. I'll catch you guys later. I am Christ and Disciple. Peace. I'm gone.